Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? This question today that I'm going to pose is where does the consciousness lie? Is it within the brain, outside the body, inside the body, in the cells, in the DNA? I guess it doesn't really matter, but the reason why I am making this video is to tell people about this story that I just read that I found fascinating and I had to share. There was a baby born 2 years ago with no brain. It's called like holocephala something rather, where your whole brain fluid fills with, or your brain cavity, your skull, fills with fluid instead of a brain. And they showed the x-ray and his brainstem had basically stopped growing before his brain formed. So the base of his brainstem was there, which could perform basic motor functions and whatnot to allow him to breathe, but the doctor said he'd probably die in a couple hours to a couple days. Well, 2 years later, he just said his first words, "Mummy." And it was just such an awesome article, to read, that people are always told, oh, he's only got so long to live, doctors have to cover their asses, but the truth is the human nature is a fighting spirit. It doesn't matter. Here's a baby without a brain that's speaking. And I'm sure that there are plenty of folks out there with a scientific explanation about how there's enough brain cells in the brain stem to perhaps help them to, speak some basic language. The fact is, we just don't know enough about the brain or the body to really understand how these things work. My belief is that memories, thoughts, who you are, your consciousness, is something that's within your field, okay? It's not something that's contained in your brain. Now, this is, of course, my theory here, but you might go back to the unified field theory, the idea that everything is one big field. So within each one of our fields, we can experience things in our lives and remember things in our lives that are kind of held within our body, within our energy field. Maybe it is within the cell itself, I don't know. But my point is that who we are and the things that we do and the things that we know are not just held within our brain. It's like our brain's the processor. The universe is the archive, if you will. And all you have to do is just plug into the internet and you can download from the archive. But each computer has its own processor as well, and your own storage. But that storage can be shared. Anyway, I'm going on too far about my thoughts on what it means to have a consciousness. But as we know, this is a very, very, an area that's lacking in a lot of explanation. There's the mind-body problem, which a lot of people claim is not the mind-body problem at all. But I don't go into the debates about it, whether or not thoughts are in your brain or elsewhere. There are too many interesting studies. Here's one. A while back I was reading a study about some rats where they basically removed half of a rat's brain and had them run a maze that they'd learned to run. And the rat was able to run that maze, okay? So then they removed a different half of a rat's brain, the other half, to see if they could run the maze, and they still ran the maze. Then they cut the brain up into a bunch of little pieces, like diced meat, and stuck it back in the brain cavity, and the mouse was still able to run the maze. This shows that there seems to be something more to the brain than just neural connections, that there's something more than just information traveling between cells. There's something greater going on, something bigger, something that the mind, I think of it as a wireless router, if you will. Or maybe the world is the router, I don't know. Anyway, gotta go. I'm being summoned again. I'll talk to y'all soon.